Hey everyone, and thanks for joining me on this episode of the 10-Minute Leader. My name is Ben Dewick, and I'm a leadership development trainer, coach, and facilitator, and I'm also the founder of Cantera Leadership. And I'm here today with a special guest. His name is Rob Reed. Rob is the CEO and founder of Bison Fire Protection. They are a leader in fire safety and fire prevention in Manitoba, and they are dedicated to providing complete fire protection systems to their customers. Rob started the company back in 2001, so coming up on 20 years, and it's grown during that time to include shops in both Saskatchewan and Ontario, as well as, of course, where he founded the company in Manitoba. So if you're watching this, you'll want to know that the goal today is to ask the guests that we have, Rob, about leadership and try to keep the conversation to around 10 minutes or less. We'll see how that goes. It's hard to capture leadership concepts in such a short amount of time, but wanted to provide an opportunity for us to get some bite-sized learning from other people, other leaders who are leading well. And I'm a big believer, of course, in growing through hearing from others. So Rob, thanks for joining me. Welcome to this show. I guess I'll call it a show.
Hi, good morning, Ben. How you doing?
I'm doing well. So good. I just want to dig into a few questions. First of all, before I do that, give a good summary of Bison Fire Protection. Does that make sense?
Sure. Yeah. No, I can give you the elevator pitch. We're a full service fire protection company that does everything from filling fire extinguishers to, supply installation of fire suppression systems for restaurants. And of course, during COVID, we were very aware of the struggles the restaurant industry is going through and very empathetic to them. We also do a lot of work for installation and service on fire alarm systems and sprinkler systems. So as I say, a full service fire protection company.
Sure. And you've been around celebrating 20 years next year, right?
Yeah, it's coming up fast. It's unbelievable. Where has the time gone?
Yeah. 20 years ago, I was a little bit younger, a little bit thinner, but
yeah, I know. I hear you. I had a little. Yeah, I've changed a bit myself.
Yeah. So this whole idea of leadership, and when you consider the concept of leadership, how do you define leadership? Do you have a definition?
I'm not going to say I have a specific definition. Sure. I think that leaders do what leaders do. Can leadership be trained? Absolutely, it can be. There are some people that, like sports or musical instruments, they just come by it more naturally. Sure. And I like to see the people that are able to lead given that opportunity. And they do start to separate themselves from the pack. And as the company's grown and we've had more people come in and do more things, it's interesting to be able to stand back and let the team do what the team does and watch those that really shine slowly come forward and not always grab the glory, just step in and do what needs to be done. Right. And to me, that's kind of the leader right there. The person that just steps up and does what needs to be done, doesn't need the glory, doesn't need to look at me. Sure. They don't have that insecurity.
Yeah. And you mentioned, you talk about, leadership being something that can be trained. There's a natural and a nurture mind blanking on that. But yeah, the natural side of things versus the nurture side of things. So for you, I mean, you probably have a lot of natural leadership capabilities yourself, but how have you been intentional in growing and training yourself and being a better leader? Has there been some things you've done?
Definitely. I've read a lot of leadership books. I watch a lot of, the YouTube videos. I listen to podcasts. I've surrounded myself, with a lot of good Winnipeg business leaders and, learn tips and tricks from them. We have some of these conversations, meeting people for coffee and, you glean things. But I'm going to say this about leadership more than anything else. It's great to read the books and all the stuff I've just listed off. But you can read a cookbook, but until you break an egg, until you warm up a pan, until you start cooking, you know what I mean? It doesn't happen. Yeah. So you have to start taking all those lessons and applying them. Have I done that? Slowly but surely. Have I made some mistakes? Of course I have, but the nice thing is the team understands that I'm trying to learn and grow myself as much as I'm trying to help them learn and grow. And so we kind of go on the journey together.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. So what would you say then is the hardest part about being in leadership?
Oh man, there's no shortage of hard parts about being in leadership. I was joking with someone just yesterday about this, and it's interesting that obviously the one thing you work for as a leader is trust with your team. That paramount, and yet you're the last guy they invite along for a beer. Because they're afraid of what they may say in front of you. That's, what if the boss hears me say that? Oh my God, things like that. They kind of forget that sometimes you're just a person that wants to have a beer like anyone else.
Right.
But there's that stigma. So, it can be a very lonely job at the top, as they say. But if you're doing the right things for the right reasons, it can be very satisfying as well.
Right. Yeah. Thanks for that answer. Yeah, there's lots of challenges for sure.
Oh God, we could take your 10-minute show just on that.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'd only be scratching the surface. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So for other leaders who are listening to this show, this recording here, what advice would you give to other leaders out there?
Well, the first thing is, when you have the right team around you and you've built a culture of trust around you, a lot of times the best thing you can do is sit back and let your team work through the problems. If you're going to be the guy that jumps in on every single moment, if you're cutting them off, if you're interrupting them, if you are disagreeing with them constantly, you lose the buy-in 100%. And if it's going to be a one-person show, then guess what? That's what you're going to have. If you've got a team around you, let them work. Let them do their part. That's so critical.
Right. Yeah, to be able to trust that you've empowered your team well enough to do that is a huge step in being a good leader for sure.
Big time. And don't think that they're not going to make some mistakes, but allow them to make those mistakes and then kind of pick them up afterwards and help them through it so they make less in the future. That's part of how you're developing your team.
Right. Yeah. No, that's good. That's good. When you think of leaders that you're familiar with, past, present, whatever the case might be, who is one leader that you really respect and admire, and why?
Boy, there's just so many, and I've been so fortunate to meet so many different business owners, CEOs around the city, and get to know them well. One of the jumps out at me right now is Mariette Muller of the World Trade Center,
right.
And the good work that she's doing. And, the way she's built a team, she's empowered that team, the way she goes out and meets new business to bring back to Winnipeg, the way she's trying to engage Winnipeg business to help them expand outside of Manitoba's borders or outside of Canada's borders. She's just a very dynamic person who knows how to be inclusive, who knows how to listen, and knows how to get things done.
Fantastic. That is a great example that she sets, and I'm glad you're able to share that story for others. Maybe some people probably don't know that we even have a World Trade Center location in Winnipeg. There's a lot of people I bump into that don't know that, but they are doing some really fantastic work.
Yeah, it's a hidden gem. I actually interviewed her at one point when I was doing my online show Into the Fire, and her and I had a fantastic conversation. If anyone wants to go look that up, it's on YouTube.
Yeah, check out, for those of you watching, check out some of Rob's stuff that he puts out. I've enjoyed watching it, and there's some good value in there for sure. One last question. This is a surprise question for you. I didn't send this in the list, but I always want to throw a little surprise, and it's a little bit of a fun question. So, would you rather lead a team of 100 duck-sized horses or a team of one horse-sized duck?
I'm going to say I'm going to go with the team of 100 because I think that there's just more excitement, more thrill, more opportunities for different things, more interaction. And that's just me. If I'm doing just the kind of the one-on-one with somebody, I will get bored.
Well, and a horse-sized duck would be pretty terrifying to be around too. So.
Oh, absolutely. But for me, I would much rather be working with the larger team.
Nice. Good. Thank you. So, Rob, thank you for being on this show, this 10-minute leader. And thanks to all the leaders who are listening as well and watching, if you're watching it. And like I said, my name is Ben Duick. My guest today was Rob Reed of Bison Fire Protection. And remember, be intentional with your leadership, grow as much as you can, and have fun while you're doing it.